he was able to read the defense. He was able to call that little small audible.
His throwing is much improved over the season.
I'm over here in the south side of Chicago, 35th and Damon, doing my veterans tailgate today, baby. This is all about the veterans.
Defensive line's got to get better.
We got a good tight end. That's all you got to do is play to the kid's strength.
Bears, 24-21.
Offense look good.
Glad for everybody to make it. Bear down, and hopefully I'll see everybody next week.
Bear down, people.
Happy New Year, everybody. It is game day. How's everybody doing? How's everybody's New Year?
Pretty good.
Good.
I think I'm bleeding beer right now.
Just beer?
Yeah, champagne, for the 1201. But otherwise, it's beer.
That damn Coquito kicked my ass.
Four Loko?
No, Coquito.
Well, we're coming up to 8 straight losses. We just come off the loss to the Bills. Let's talk about that for a few minutes. What'd you think about the game? It's been a while. We'll start with Jermaine. What'd you think?
You know what, man? I'm going to be brutally honest. I mean, it was a very tough loss, especially the fact that we had them in the second half. We just kind of let the game just get out of hand. But we just need to improve pretty much in our defense. I think our offense is pretty good at this time. Just a little bit is starting to improve. But we can't let the defense just run over everybody just to hold to finish games, so to speak. So we just got to do better at just finishing games. We kind of let it just slip away in the second half. So,
gotcha. We'll just move to the right. CJ, you're next. What'd you think?
Yeah, definitely the defense was as far as disappointing in the second half, the way we let the game slip. Also from the Bears offense, I just wanted to see them run the ball a little bit more. And that's another thing I want to see going into next season is that the Bears get their running backs a little bit more involved as far as either the running game or pretty much just getting passes out of the backfield or catches out of the backfield. Excuse me.
Right, Woody.
I like the defense that we're getting. Takeaways. Our rushing game was nothing last week. I don't even think we had 100 yards. Did we? No.
I don't think so.
Nope. The other thing I've been seeing the last couple of weeks is like the Bears got to play 2 halves of football. It's like the first half it was 13-6 at half. And then we give up 29 points in the second half. So they got to be both sides of the ball. Nick Morrow, he had an interception that was good. And, Gordon. So, I don't know. We just got to play 2 halves of ball. So, and our rushing game was, I don't know, ghosting last week. Probably the first time all year. So.
Well, you got to take in consideration Buffalo's defense is pretty decent. It's one of the top teams in the NFL.
Right.
And, yeah, we only had 80 yards rushing. But as you notice, the first time I think in 4 or 5 weeks, this field's been running. He only had 7 attempts.
Yeah,
he's usually got double that. You know what I mean? So that was the lack of that. But we'll move to Dan. What'd you think?
I agree with what everybody's been saying.
Dan, you say that every week, and I don't blame you.
Yeah, no. I agree. I agree with what everybody's been saying about the defense. And, no offense really last week. And
what I did like is Justin Fields opened it up a little bit to different receivers. It was 7 different receivers. Yeah, he only threw for 119 yards with 1 TD. Didn't throw an interception, so no mistakes. But
I like I like the way Velas Jones played last week too. He had like 113 yards in kickoff return yards.
Yeah,
And he didn't fumble it.
Yeah, last couple weeks he stepped it up. I think it's the nerves going away because earlier in the season, like he started off terrible, but the last couple weeks he's actually been turning it around. Go ahead, Ken.
I mean, guys, it was the Buffalo Bills. Probably going to be the number one seed, or they're fighting for the number one seed in AFC. Am I surprised we lost? No. But yet again, we were in it. I mean, yeah, 8-game losing. We've been in these. There was improvement. We can point to at least one aspect of the game in every game. Hey, at least this improved this time, or that improved this time. The defense getting better. The O-line protected a lot better. These games are more about the cool thing. Even if win, lose, or draw at this point, we're looking to see, okay, where are we looking to spend that draft pick on? And, is it going to be an edge rusher? Probably. Or is there some stud O-line, right? But now we're starting to assess our needs a little bit better. And really, the O-line is finally starting to play better. They're protecting a little bit better. Now it's coming down to, okay, get open. And I'm sure we're going to talk about some of the crazy stuff we've been seeing posted about potential trades here in a little bit. But can wide receivers get open? Because a lot of our sacks are coverage sacks. The more you watch this O-line, a lot of the sacks that Fields take are coverage, not the O-line fault. So, lots of good improvements again last week in it with one of the best teams in the AFC, a team that's been down the last 2 or 3 years, and we were in the game. I was surprised when I turned the game on because I totally screwed up my Saturday schedule. And I'm like, holy crap, we're beating the Bills at the beginning of the second half. I figured we'd be losing 35-8 by then or whatever. This is Josh Allen to Diggs all day. And yet that wasn't happening. I think we shut Diggs down more than Jair Alexander did. So
yeah, we couldn't stop their run game last week.
Well, we haven't. That's the one thing we stop all year. So
but last week was the worst. They almost had 2 guys over 100.
Yeah.
Singletary at 106 and Cook at 99. They both averaged 8.8 or better. 8.8. That's got to be better, especially what I was going to say about the defensive line.
Probably that's showing out to be, it's funny. If you look at the beginning of the season, we're talking O-line, 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 O-line. Now it's like, okay, the O-line's not really that bad. It's D-line, D-line, D-line. Because our backfield is, eat your heart out, Jair Alexander. We shut Diggs down compared to you. And we're doing it with rookies. So, it's getting better.
All right, well, we'll talk a little bit more about the Buffalo game. We'll just do studs and duds real quick, and then we'll go ahead and move on. We'll start with Ken this time. Who is your stud and who is your dud?
Brisker. Brisker, Gordon, I'm going to give it to both of them because it's more of a tandem thing. Those 2 rookies in the back all year have been nothing short of phenomenal. For duds, D-line, just straight up the whole D-line gets it because, like you said, 2 guys, pushing the century mark, still not getting pressure. If there's a weak spot on this Bears team, it's that D-line.
Right.
Well, wait,
and Gordon did get an interception too.
Yeah, interception was nice. That's what I'm saying. They're making plays. Brisker and Gordon, like either they're making plays, they're getting turnovers. You can make a case for either of them for rookie defensive player of the year. Yeah, they each missed 2 games with a concussion at the same time. That notwithstanding, though, if you look at their performances for rookie year, how many teams? Look, teams are usually lucky if they have a rookie that has a good breakout year, but to have 2 of them like that, 3 of them like that on that Bears defense because a certain other linebacker, undrafted free agent rookie, he's a stud too. So, but those 2, they get the stud, and then the D-line is just terrible.
Gotcha. Dan, are you still with us? We'll move to CJ next. Who is your stud and dud?
I was gonna say Brisker. I was definitely gonna say Brisker as far as being a stud. He did some amazing plays last week. Um, Dud. I'm gonna say one name, Justin Jones. What has he done this season? And I think by looking back at that signing, not a very good signing.
I'm with you on the signing 100%. He hasn't been doing what he's being paid to do. You know what I mean? He might as well pay a younger guy way cheaper than what he's been doing. You know what I mean? I agree with you in that aspect for sure. We'll move to Woody.
Well, since everybody's picking Brisker, I'm going to always pick the linebacker that had an interception. I'm going to say Morrow is my dud or stud. Sorry, stud. I always do that. If you're a linebacker that gets an interception, you're my stud. Plus, he led the team in tackles
with 8.
Yes.
5 solo. Man, you took my stud.
I don't know.
All right, who's your dud?
I'm gonna go on a limb. I was disappointed in Herbert last week. You know, he had 6 carries, 7 yards. I know it's his first game back. Hey, listen, I'm not putting the guy down. I like him a lot, but we're used to his explosiveness on every carry he has, every pass catch he has. He only had 6 attempts for 7 yards last week. He's my dud, and I hate to say it, but that's what I feel.
And would you say his performance last week though just reinforces why we need to re-sign Montgomery?
I think we're going to re-sign Montgomery anyway. Be honest with you, I just think maybe, for example, Mitch Trubinsky when he got hurt. Remember he hurt his shoulder. He needed a couple of pads, whatever. Look, he was never the same afterwards. Like he was like the first couple of games, he was afraid to run out of the pocket when he doesn't have a throw. He wasn't used to it. We'll see. I think we'll find out what Herbert does when he gets the ball today. If he's going to be like last week and if he's over his injury, I don't know, but I think the Bears were going to re-sign Montgomery anyway.
That's a discussion for here in a few weeks that I already, got wanting to talk about too. And I just will mention this. It might be a smart thing the organization is doing, not giving him as many carries, because if you think about it, his price will be cheaper.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. No, because there's enough tape on now that the price is. I mean, like even if you busted out like some crazy 80-yarder a day, it's not going to jack up his price. I mean, the tape's already out there.
Yeah, but if you finish in the top 5, your price tag's more at a top 5 than a top 10.
Yeah, but I mean, at this point of the season, last 3 games, it wasn't going to. It wasn't going to influence, and they already know that the tape's out there. The selling point's already there. Like. Unless he was going to have like a 400-yard day, the price tag's already set.
We'll talk about this in a few weeks, kid. but Dan, we'll move on to you, studs and duds. Who is your stud and who is your dud?
Hopefully, it's not your hand, but
Morrow for a stud.
Come on,
Left or right?
You can't pick mine. Jesus Christ, people. Go ahead, Dan. Sorry.
And duds have to be the defense in the second half.
Hey, Ken, I want to ask you something quick. Sorry, Mike. Do you think they should keep the same defensive scheme, or they should switch it back the way it used to? Seems like they've been getting the quarterback more of their old scheme.
No, keep it. It's transition year. I think it was more of a personnel issue than a scheme issue. I mean, if you look at the back end, the back end has been nothing short of great in the system. It's just they don't have the personnel up front. So it's sure they're getting the personnel up front. I mean, 3-4, 4-3. It's a personnel issue. I think this year it's like if we took Billy out of his end zone and put him in the other end zone, you wouldn't know how to act anymore.
Well, he's going to go right out the end zone. He's going to go right out the end zone and take a safety.
I can't sit on that other side of the end zone, man. That'll mess my world up.
Yeah. I'm just saying, like last year when Gibson filled in, when Mack was gone, whatever. It seems like he was getting to the quarterback more. I don't know what's up with him this year. I really don't. So I thought that it was the defensive changing scheme. That's what I was just asking that.
I mean, there might be. I mean, there's probably some. Yeah, Woody, I'm sure there is to a degree, but it's an adjustment year, and I think it's been more of just a personnel issue. Like the personnel we had was set up for the old scheme, not the new scheme up front. And Gibson might not be a guy that we keep for this scheme because he doesn't fit it. So I think it's more of a personnel, because if you look at our DBs and stuff like that, it's been much better than it was last year in this scheme. In fact, in this scheme, it allows Brisker or Gordon to do some things that or even Johnson, some things they couldn't do last year. So and we've seen that impact, that positive impact. It's just that we need the D-line personnel to pull it off. That's all.
All right, yeah, I just wanted to know.
Yeah.
The main thing is not getting to the quarterback this year. And Mike, I don't even know our stats on sacks on where we are in the league, but we got to be down there pretty far.
Dead last.
Got to be
horrible.
We're dead last for sure.
So,
but
that's what I'm
welcome
saying.
to the show, Billy. Appreciate you jumping on. We were just talking a little bit about the Buffalo game, on what you thought and who was the studs and duds. So
Billy's at church, so don't talk too loud.
But what'd you think about the Bills game and how they performed, and who is your stud and who is your dud?
You know what? I actually didn't get to see much of that game, man. So I mean, I had to miss that one. That's what killed me, man. I didn't get to go to that game and all that. So I had some issues. I actually didn't see the game.
How you feeling, bud?
I'm doing good, brother, man. I'm sitting there doing my thing, man. I can't wait to get back at it back in the last one against Minnesota.
I had my mom say a prayer for you, man.
You know, I was watching the week before. You know, you were on national TV, by the way. So, you know, I hope you're getting your royalty checks.
That's what we do, man. We have fun.
But last week was probably the first game you've missed in decades, I'd say, huh? But
yeah, dude, that was a dagger, man. That was my Santa one. I usually come as Santa Claus, man, but I had some other issues, so I couldn't. I actually had to miss one, dude. That was the dagger, dude. It was so bad.
Well, you didn't miss much. It was one of the only times the Bears didn't have second half adjustments. It was for the worst, I'd say. You know,
it's not. I'm not used to. I'm just used to there seeing how horrible it looked. But that cold, man. I mean, that's exciting too, man. When it's that cold, dude, it's when you see your real good diehards out there.
Yeah.
Oh, for sure, 100%. All right, we'll move on to this week's game, which is another divisional game. We have another one next week. It's against the Lions. The last time we lost to the Lions this year, we lost by an extra point miss.
Good job, Ken.
What do you guys think the keys to victory today, if you want a victory today? We'll start with Billy.
The run game, man. I mean, if we're going to win, it's got to be the run game. I mean, obviously we don't want them to win, but I don't want to lose either. But run game, and hopefully some of our defense. We find some more, pieces that we need on D that we can use next season. So I mean, I don't know. Let's just hope it's a good game and not a blowout.
Right on. What do you think, CJ?
I think it's gonna have to be the defense. You don't need to have St. Brown out there going off. You definitely got to contain him. So it's definitely gonna have to be finding some type of way to get to the quarterback, and also making sure that St. Brown doesn't have a big game.
Woody?
Yeah, that's DJ said it on the nose. You got to stop St. Brown. They have DJ Shark too, so we have to get our running game back on track today and up our 80 yards from last week. But easier said than done is that we got to stop Williams and Swift on the other end as well, because Williams is their bull rusher. If they're inside the 10-yard line, he scores all the time. And then you got to watch DeAndre Swift coming out of the backfield too. But St. Brown's their key player. We got to stop them.
Dan?
Gotta stop the defense has to kick in and stop St. Brown off.
Ken?
Honestly, I'm looking for our passing game today. I'm hoping Claypool. I want to see a little bit more of Claypool and our St. Brown this game. You know, we didn't have Claypool last time, but our St. Brown was a ghost last time. And, you know, they got that little brotherly bet going on. I like to see some pass stuff today, and just continued O-line improvement. The D is going to be what the D is going to be at this point. I'm just looking today at W or not. I'm looking at for O-line improvement and passing game improvement.
Gotcha. Yeah, I'm definitely with you on the passing game improvement, 100%. Like you said, Claypool and St. Brown against the brothers. You know what I mean? That's always a good matchup. But I also think it's going to be the defensive line. We got to, after that horrible performance last week against the run, we got to try to keep them under 100, force them to pass. You know,
It's been that the whole year, though, man. I mean, dude, the D line front four has been, you know, look at Morrow. I thought it was funny that Morrow was a stud for a couple of you guys this week. Remember, like pre-Roquan trade, like, okay, can he be, you know, Roquan's Briggs? You know, for like, you know,
I love Nick Morrow from the beginning, and I said that from preseason.
Yeah, but I mean,
Nick Morrow
it wasn't that we were questioning whether he was good. It's like, is he going to be that, you know, Briggs, you know, the Briggs or Urlacher kind of guy?
Yeah.
You know, I think we're seeing that him and Sanborn are two solid linebackers now as this season's gone on. I'm not from our linebacking core back, our defense. I'm good. The D line though all season is just you get once in a blue moon they get a lucky play, but every lucky play finds a bone. I mean, the clock is at least right twice a day, right? So I mean, I don't expect much out of that front four.
Well, where the offenses were killing us too on a defense passing game, we're giving up too many slant passes. AJ Brown ate us up.
Yeah,
when we played the Eagles on that, and that's what St. Brown does too a lot. He comes out of the backfield, does a lot of slants, screen passes. He's good. I'm thinking he's gonna have a big day today. Unfortunately, I really do.
Gotcha. I kind of step out of the box, off topic a little bit. We got what I'd like to see is I'd like to see Montgomery get re-signed, and our wide receivers for next year is Mooney, Claypool, Jones, and I believe Harry. I forgot on this list. We're gonna have Harry. I think they should make a move on a trade. These are my four top players. DeAndre Hopkins, Jerry Jeudy, T. Higgins, and Mike Evans. I would love out of this list to go for a T. Higgins, somewhere younger on his rookie contract. Yeah, he's going to be a free agent in 2023, but I feel like if we can get Higgins with Claypool, Mooney, and with the wide receivers that I said, they could possibly re-sign St. Brown on a cheap deal again. And that would give Justin Fields a lot of weapons. And there shouldn't be any excuse. So when we go into the draft in the offseason, we can do defensive line and offensive line.
Got to get that offensive line.
Right.
We get them back today. We get Jenkins and Whitehair back today. So that's why I'm thinking the running game might be a little bit better today.
Right.
Go ahead.
Is that Big Mike with you, Billy?
That's Big Mike, boy.
What's up? Welcome to Halas All Report Show, buddy. How you doing?
Oh, Mike.
What's going on?
I like T. Higgins because you got to think on the other hand too. Cincinnati, they have Chase and Boyd. I don't know if they can keep all three. That's just my honest opinion. But I would love T. Higgins. I said that 2 weeks ago.
Right.
Definitely a fan of T. Higgins, man.
Yep.
And usually I don't root for us to lose, but for our draft capital and going into next year, I've already said we're going to lose out. I feel we're not going to win another game. I just hope Houston wins one game because we'll move to the number one pick.
Go Texans, baby. Let's go Texans.
And then I believe there'll be a huge trade, and we will have a first-round pick still and possibly stay in the top 10.
Doesn't Texans have to win because we have the tiebreaker
They
against
got to
them.
win one,
Yeah.
but you got to remember they have a tie. So as long as they have the same amount of losses, that tiebreaker, a tie is better than a loss. So we'll
Yep.
move
And
that
didn't they beat us? They beat us now, right? Didn't they?
No, we
No,
beat
we
them.
beat
them, but that would only if it come
23-20.
to head to head.
Yeah, that's right. We did win.
Record comes first.
Yeah, because Mike, when I look at that list, T. Higgins is going to cost too much, and they're not trying. And
Did you see the full list?
well, no, I saw the.
You
full
got Mike
list.
Evans at 13 million next year.
Yeah,
And you got D-Hop at 14, almost
I'm
15
not talking
million.
about, Mike. I'm not talking about cash.
Oh,
I'm
okay.
I'm talking about like, okay, what's going to take to actually get them? Like, first off, your bookends there you can get rid of because they're never. Mike Evans is only 30, but he looks like he's 40 some days health wise.
If I'm going
Right?
to go with someone over 30, we're going to make that impossible just because it's fucking Adams. Let's get them and let's torture Green Bay with them. Torture Green Bay with them. That's all. I don't care. Let's just torture Green Bay with them. Do me that fucking favor.
I like that. I like that list that Mike had. I'm just looking at we need a big receiver as well. I know we got Claypool, but I like T. Higgins because he's big. Jerry Judy's D-Hop, we're not getting him. I'm sorry.
Give me Higgins and Adams.
Yeah.
Well, I was gonna put Adams on the list, but that's rare. Would we like it? Yeah, who wouldn't? You
gotta let us love that. We gotta put the dagger in Green Bay with that.
That's $28 million a year.
Yeah, look what Green Bay doing to Amos with us. Come on.
True. That's true, Bill.
I want to be able to tag back at him. Come on. I want to be able to go to Green Bay and be like, yeah, let's go Adams.
Here's the problem with T. Higgins. You know, that's what I'm saying. Like the T. Higgins is like you have what they need as far as trade capital, right? Like we don't have what Cincy's looking for. That's where a thing like Adams, especially with the stuff with Carr and everything else, makes sense because if they're looking to draft that quarterback of the future, number one, then an Adams trade could happen for multiple reasons. Notwithstanding the fact that it helps the Raiders to trade them to us at that point because it'll affect their negative cap space in a positive way. So, and we can absorb some contract too. So, I mean, plus what Billy's saying, spot on. Just to go back to the Packers, and have Adams beat the Packers next year. I mean, that's just sweet. And you know what? He's still mad at the Packers for all from what we can tell. So, I mean, there's a lot of good reasons why the Devontae Adams trade is worth talking about. But when I look at that list you threw up, Mike, like the D-Hop isn't leaving Arizona anytime soon. They're not going to let him go. We have nothing that Cincinnati wants. I'm like with Woody. Jerry Judy's like, yeah, you always hear the name Jerry Judy, but what have you ever done? Oh, nothing. Never mind. And Evans, he's good, but he's injured a lot. And look at all the drop. He's had a lot of drops here in Tampa.
Well, don't get me wrong. I like Adams too, but I was just going off Mike's list. Is that a good excuse? But yeah.
I don't think that on that list would have a shot in hell or would even be looking at any one of those four on that list. Just because, like, it's either we don't have what Cincinnati would be looking for a trade, and Cincinnati's got a stud young receiver cheap. So why? And they're in their window. So why would they? You're going to get a stud receiver from a team that's like, well, to be honest, like Las Vegas.
Mm-hmm.
Man, Ken with Las Vegas. He likes Derek Carr, which I'm sorry what happened to him, bud. That he got benched and stuff. Because I know how you love Derek Carr.
Let me hold on. Let me ask you guys a question about Adams. Are you guys concerned if he's on this Bears team, and you know how Justin is as far as getting the ball to his receivers? Are you concerned that he may have a problem not getting a lot of touches?
No.
I mean, it depends on how our O-line is. I mean, if we have an O-line and you have your receivers, I mean, if we were able to get Higgins and we were able to get Adams, I mean, this kid could throw the ball. I mean, I think someone's going to get open. You're going to see big plays. I mean, you got to respect Adams. I mean, you're definitely going to double him. You're going to open up. I mean, you got too many receivers to double up on someone.
I agree.
Right, right. To have Mooney and Claypool on top of it, you know what I mean? It's huge.
I agree. I agree with Billy because offensive line is key. I don't care if you have Jerry Rice, Mark Duper, the best receivers out there in the league. If you don't have time to throw to them, it's just.
But
But it helps to have someone like Adams at 6'5". As long as you throw it up, he'll try to go get it.
You got that one-on-one deal. You know he's good for it. I mean, yeah, he's getting old. But if you're going to deal with the Raiders and all that, I mean, like I said, I mean, that would be great to get them and all that stuff. But if you're going to pull something like that, if Houston does lose and we get that number one spot with all our money and all that stuff, you got to think Jacobs is not going to be in, hopefully not by Raiders next year either. Why not make a trade with Montgomery, our picks and money, and get Jacobs and Adams? Think about that.
I think we should, make a trade with that Las Vegas, and we get my boy Bly Nichols back. How about that? Do we all agree on that? He's got the quarterback.
More to your point, though, I mean, Devontae Adams is a smart football guy, which we think these guys mostly are. I mean, I think he also realizes, like, you look at the sacks that Fields is taking, a lot of them are coverage sacks. So I think if you got a wide out trio that's Adams, Mooney, and Claypool, one of them, I think that sack count goes down because someone will be open finally. Whereas this year, it's a lot of coverage sacks. When you look at Fields, I mean, he's getting 4, 5, 6 seconds, which is actually average to above average for protection in the league. So the O line's not. We think it's bad because he gets sacked, but because we blame the O line when there's a sack. But really, look at a lot of the sacks, dude. Go back and look at the tape. A lot of it, Fields is holding the ball a long time. I mean, we remember guy came untouched sacks, but look at most of these sacks are coverage sacks. I mean, that's been our problems, not the O line. It's wide receivers not getting open.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, the Raiders trade could be definitely a possibility, and I think as far as those two quarterbacks coming out of coming out of college this year, people are going to be looking at that second spot and trying to get one of those guys. So the Raiders could be like, you know what? Hey, we don't want Carr. Let's go get one of those guys, and let's make it happen.
Well, the only thing that's a question mark in my head on that is, like I said, $28 million.
Yeah, Mike, but you got it's almost like you got to get a veteran in there. You know what I mean? You got to get some type of veteran receiver that's a number one receiver.
And really, think about Mike with $130 million in cap and the way the trades work. They can look at. It's not like we're going to take all of Devontae's salary. I mean, we can. Oh, right. If we say we end up with the number one pick, and you want the number one pick, great. We want Devontae. You're number 8, and by the way, you're paying $8 million of his salary next year. If you really want the number one to get your franchise quarterback, there's a lot of power in that pick draft. Trade wise. I mean, think about it. I mean, look at the capital you spend to go from, let's say, 10 or from 17 to 10. You spend 2 first round picks to go to spot 10, right? Where are you spending to go to number 1? That's why we're not going. Let's say we make a Raiders trade. Yeah, we want Devontae, you're number 1, and we're not going to take you number 1 next year, but you're going to pay half of Devontae's salary. I mean, that's so there's a lot of power there that Poles has. In deal for number 1.
The Sheagles did it too in the draft when they went out and got their guy with AJ Brown.
Yeah,
and look what he did for the Eagles this year, which I hate to say. It could get done again.
Yeah, I mean,
all right. Well, we got about 5 minutes till we log out of here and so we move over to the next live for the game. But we'll move on to prediction. And Billy, I'm going to add into here too. You didn't jump on before we went live, but next year I'm going to buy everybody Halas Hall Report jerseys. They're going to be orange. You choose the number and the nameplate on the back. If you can PM me that, I'll get that and we'll have that ready to rock and roll by next year.
51.
51. What's the nameplate?
Dick Buckus.
Go Pack.
Defense guy.
That's what I thought, but I was just making sure. But we'll move on to predictions. We'll go ahead and start with Billy. What do you think the prediction of the Lions-Bears game is going to be?
Lions are going to get this one, man. 28. I'll give it 17.
Can I throw a mad face at you like you do on?
You should. Everybody gets the mad faces, but I understand. I understand.
I respect Billy because he's not home voting today.
I didn't get all your picks, but we're moving on to the final pick'em standings that I do every year, that I give away something to the winner every year. I'm in the lead, but I'm still going to give something away. It's either going to be Woody, Dan, or maybe CJ and Ken if they could pull off back-to-back. But I'm going to start it. That way everybody else can go after me. I think I already said it. The Bears aren't going to win another game the rest of this year. I think the Lions are going to win 21-17. We'll move on to Dan. What do you think the score is going to be?
Lions 23, Bears 16.
Ken?
No, let me go last.
Okay. CJ?
There you go. Fucking
I'm gonna say Detroit 24-13.
24-13. Woody?
I think it's going to be a little bit more higher. I'm going to say 30-24 Detroit.
It was 31-30 last time.
Absolutely.
So, I mean, it's possibility.
Yeah.
All right, Ken, you're last. What do you think? He's going to go to Bears because he's going to come on the Heat.
So okay, Billy, now you can give me the mad face. I have no choice, but for the sake of the standings, I'm taking the Bears. And I'm ruining our number one draft pick choice by doing so, and our draft capital trade bait. But I'm going to have to take the Bears for our standings here, and I'm going to call it 31-30. It's just going to be the exact reverse of the last time.
Wow, he's given up all our next
Proud of you, Ken. I'm proud of you.
pick and everything just for the Mike the Bear fan prize. I fucking respect.
Well, look, honestly, I think the Bears aren't going to win another game. But for our entertainment's sake,
entertainment.
I'm taking the Bears, or what? I'm taking the Bears for like my fantasy team. There we go. But yeah, I mean, I don't see us really winning, but I'm kind of in that position for our standings. I have no choice.
Vince McMahon, there you go.
We're coming down to the end of the season. We're only going to have about 2 more shows left. Next week, I know probably Billy won't be able to make it because he'll probably be at the Vikings.
Tailgating, you know me. I'll be tailgating. I ain't missing that one.
But
Minnesota in the house.
But the week after, I hope I get to see you on the last week of the season to close it out. I will be still live going into the playoffs just for this show alone.
I hope you're going to stay alive, Mike.
Yeah,
you know me, I got to do the games. And everybody watching,
I don't want you to die, dude.
You're going to have to go to NFL Hard Knocks to catch any of the game. That's the only way I'll be doing the games from here on out. And I will be live in that group in about 5 minutes.
All right, brothers. Love you guys, man. Bear down. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year, Billy. See you in a couple weeks. Go Bears. Appreciate everybody staying on the feed, staying all year. Happy New Year, everybody, and we'll see you guys next week.
See ya.